Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Network One-on-One podcast, where I connect two people who I think should meet. They may or may not have ever met before. Today, I'm bringing to you Jason Roberts and Wasim Hajjiri. Jason Roberts is with Frontline Careers, and Wasim is with howtofindyourdreamjob.net. I won't even be in studio with them. I'm going to let them create their own synergy, meet each other, and hopefully connect again at a later date. I'd encourage you to watch the episode. Please like, subscribe, and we accept all comments, even the bad ones. Again, Jason Roberts and Wasim "The Dream" Hajjiri, Network One-on-One.
All right, it's great to see you. I mean, Jason, we spoke briefly before, but here we are now. Back when did we speak before?
Man, that was probably at least maybe 8 months ago. It's
8 months
time
ago?
flies. It really does fly. Maybe even longer.
We spoke on the phone.
On the phone, just real briefly.
Just hi, bye, right?
Yeah, kind of deal. But it was good to just connect real briefly. But also now I get the opportunity to kind of just dive a little deeper and get to know you a little bit deeper.
Yeah,
and just connect. Always
That's it.
good.
That's it.
So I think right now, so just kind of intros, we met, just very briefly by phone, Jason Roberts. And the name of our business is Frontline Careers. And what we do is, the way I like to explain it, Wasim, is kind of like we are a workplace assessment, work culture assessment company. But we focus just on frontline work. So the men and women who have to be present to do their jobs. They can't do them, in a nice office or do them remotely, which you see a lot more of that post-COVID, but they don't have that option, right?
Yeah.
And so what we do is we go into places of business and we talk to their frontline employees. It's anonymous. So the leadership of those companies don't know who said what. We don't talk to the leadership. We don't talk to the corporate folks. We talk just to the frontline employees and the frontline staff and get their take on what it's like to work for that particular business. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so then based on what they say, we then certify companies as being frontline friendly or not.
Okay.
And if you're a frontline friendly business, then you get our badge. You can hang in your place of business on your website and your marketing materials that basically announces that, hey, we are truly a good place for a frontline worker to build a career.
Okay.
Because in my experience, we'll talk about this maybe as we get kind of in the conversation a little bit more. The men and women who work on the front lines, highly motivated, highly talented, but often undervalued. You've probably seen this too.
Yes.
Undervalued, underappreciated. So we want to make it easier for folks to find the businesses, the companies that actually do value them, do invest in them, do treat people with dignity and respect. So that's what the certification is all about.
Wow.
So that's the heart of our business. We have a job site too. It's more, I like to say it's selective. So it's focused on the quality of the job. So we don't just take any job posting. It's about more. And that's what we're about as a company. It's helping frontline workers and employees who are looking for more, find companies that offer more. So that's what Frontline Careers is, and that's what we do. My years of experience, so we launched that business January 2020. Remember what's happening?
Yeah. Wow. So right before COVID. Wow.
Right before COVID, man, the whole world kind of Armageddon hits. You know what I mean? So
2 months later.
Two months later, yeah. And it literally was 2 months later. We went from, as you know, probably because you're in the field, right? It's what, 3% unemployment, then it jumps up to like 15%. Nobody's hiring.
Yeah.
So I know that probably affected you too, and what you guys do with your business. But prior to that, I spent about 10 years working deep in a frontline heavy industry, the waste industry. Came out here to California to run, large scale frontline operations. And that was kind of the genesis behind the idea, kind of seeing it firsthand. So that's kind of my background and my experience in the industry, how I got into that. And so it's good that we finally get a chance to now dive a little bit deeper into what I do, and really looking forward to hearing about you. You got a really cool and kind of interesting story. Then let's find some ways that we can connect and help each other. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. The last one was how you met Zeke.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to Zeke right here.
My man.
Zeke is, it's been nothing but a blessing, honestly. To tell you a little bit about me, my name is Wasim Hajjiri, and I'm originally from Jordan. All of my life, I grew up there, and I moved out to the States in 2013.
Oh, nice.
So now 9 years now I've been here. It's crazy. Time flies. My background is engineering. Did electrical engineering. Worked at Qualcomm, telecommunications. Yeah. So all of the tech background. And my company name is Wasim the Dream LLC. There's a long story behind the name.
I love it though.
It's different. Yeah. It's it's not like something with careers, but the name comes as an inspiration from my father. The night before I was born, he had a dream that and he named me Wasim in his dream. Literally, the night before I was born. So that's why I put it Wasim the Dream. Yeah, and I registered it as the LLC and everything. So pretty much what we do is we help IT and tech professionals land their dream job. We work mostly with senior level people, also a lot of mid and some junior, maybe 20% or so.
Yeah.
And my goal is to get them hired. So you come to me, Jason, you tell me, okay, I want this project manager position at Google, let's say.
Yeah.
Within 3 months, I'll get you the job. That's my guarantee, as the part of my program. Average time is around 6 to 8 weeks where people are landing jobs in the program. And that's the gist of everything that we do. I'm also a writer. I wrote a couple of books. The second book is related to careers. It's called Fulfilled. How to land fulfilled ? How to land a job that aligns with your purpose.
So important, man.
Yeah. And you, just a little bit from what you told me, you were, you saw at a bigger scale handling operations. You were probably in management. It sounds like you're in management, and how important it is to take care of your people and to make sure they're fulfilled, they're happy. And then you transitioned into Frontline Careers, which is to see if our employees actually happy.
Yeah, and to your point on your book, though,
it
was also finding purpose for myself and what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've been there where you might be making really good money, but if you're not fulfilled, if you don't have a greater purpose to your work, for me at least, it was a miserable existence. You know? So, and I think there are a lot of folks in the country who are walking around unfulfilled, and I think that's probably why you wrote that book.
70%.
Yeah, I absolutely can believe it.
Yeah,
and it's funny too. My background is also in engineering. I never actually went into the field, but I was mechanical. Back in the day, it was always kind of mechanical versus the EEs.
Yes,
kind of stuff,
as
you remember probably. But it's pretty interesting. We have a lot of commonalities.
Yeah. And what else? So we were talking about, okay.
So we got I think a question here. So how important is it to find a job that is right fit for you?
I'll let you lead and then I'll follow.
You'll follow?
Yeah.
I think it comes back to, well, let's talk about what is fit, what is job fit? So, I got two co-founders. One is Ty. So you'll probably get a chance to meet Ty. One of my better halves, and also my wife. She's a key part of our team. And then there's Ari, who's the IO psychologist on our team. So he gets in kind of the science of work and all this stuff. And if he were to answer this question, one of the things he'd say, well, Jason, there's kind of two types of fit. We actually had a conversation about this recently. There is kind of person job fit, right? And then there's kind of person PO fit, like person organization fit. So a lot of times we might talk about the right job, but you also can't lose sight of the right organization. You know what I mean? So let's talk about job. We'll touch on the question with the job, but I also want us to make sure we're thinking about the organization, because I think as you are doing your work too, you'll probably talk on this, you probably help people understand it's not just the right job for you, it's just the right company for you, which I think sometimes we lose sight of. But in terms of job fit, number one is, I think just the basics is, can you do the job? So do you have the hard skills, necessary to do the job at the end of the day? But then also there's the soft skills that come with that. So there's the hard skills, the soft skills. But as a person, I think, and we saw this with the with the pandemic, right? Why you see and all this great resignation that followed is people started to realize their value, right? So job fit is crucially important, because if I realize, you know what, this isn't a job that's providing for me or providing for my family, or it's not fulfilling to me as a person, I realize now I have value. Why am I still here?
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's important that there's that alignment between you as an individual and the work and the job that you're doing, because at the end of the day, you won't be fulfilled, right? And at the end of the day, you will be left looking for more. And ultimately, either something's going to suffer, and I talk about this before, whether it's going to be your health or it's going to be some other aspect of your life, when you don't have that alignment in something where you spend the vast majority of your time.
Of your life. Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day. So to me, I think that's one of the key reasons why a person job fit is crucially important. Also, and you've probably seen this as you've talked with, hundreds of folks and helping them land their dream jobs. When I'm motivated in my job, you're going to get so much more out of me.
Yes.
I remember I had someone call me once, and former, colleague or someone worked in my organization, and they were lamenting and say, in this job, they were just so miserable, right?
Yeah.
And part of it was the organization, so I'll talk about that too. But they were willing to take a pay reduction to be in a better environment. So I talk about this. Do you think that individual is going to give you discretionary effort? Right? Are they going to go above and beyond? Or even you're just going to get the bare minimum. So I think for businesses, it's important for them to make sure they're getting it right in terms of job fit. Because if you got someone who's not the right fit for the job, you're not going to get anything more than the bare minimum. This has been my experience, but what's been yours?
You said something golden right now. You said even sometimes people are willing to take a pay cut to have a better. So okay, let me backtrack for 2 miles. Let's backtrack 2 miles. Yeah. In the book, I talk about so what is job fulfillment? Yeah. I have it as a formula. So the three stages of to get to the job fulfillment. Type of work, number 1.
Yep. Culture,
number 2, and then salary. So these 3 pillars, I would say the 3 pillars, right, for job fulfillment. Something great that you said is, does the person fit for the job? Does the person fit for the organization? 2 different things. Mm-hmm. Because a person can be a great fit for the job, which means, let's say this guy is a developer. He has 50 years of experience, just example.
Right.
He's amazing, right? He's one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
But does this organization, is it a good fit for his personality, his values, his style? Does he like to have a voice? Some people even like to be micromanaged, and they're fine with that. Mm-hmm. They're like, just give me what I need to do. I'm going to bounce. Yeah. Some people don't like to be micromanaged. Like, I want to have a voice. I want to have, be able to, if I have an idea to innovate about something, I would like for my ideas to be heard.
Right.
So going back to that, so first of all, the culture has definitely to be aligned. And then, the second part, which is type of work. Let's use a project manager as an example. Even as a project manager, you can do a couple of different things. You can be more on the actual management side with people, or focus more on, let's say, the operations of the actual project.
Right.
Somewhere between there. The easiest way is like, what do you enjoy doing the most? I enjoy managing people. So I'll be a project manager, but I'll be focused on leading the team and building relationships there.
Yeah.
That's where my heart is, So, that is a right fit for that person. Mm-hmm. And then finally, definitely, which is the salary. People, that you have to pay them what they feel they're worth. Now, obviously, in the corporate world, not in the entrepreneurial world, where there's no cap, there is a certain cap. But the biggest thing that I teach my clients is also negotiating.
Oh yeah.
80% of employees don't even negotiate for their salary.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't like my salary. But did you actually ask for what you want? Right. Most people do not. So that's one of the biggest things for everyone listening to open your eyes. Even if you're in a role right now, you can renegotiate your salary.
Absolutely.
It's possible. So you look at, okay, this is my value. This is what I bring to the table. I want, let's say, 150K, 150 to 170K. Ask for it. There's no harm, no foul. Let's say it's a new offer or let's say it's a brand new offer. They send you the offer letter right now. It says 140K. Look, I don't want 140K.
Right.
I'm in between 150 to 170K. So you go back to the recruiter or the hiring managers like, this offer is great, but I'm in between 150 to 170. What can we do? Oh, we have a budget problem. Okay. What else do you have? Other sides, other angles of the compensation package.
Right.
Is there a sign-in bonus? Is there stock options if it's a public company? So you can try to hit all of the angles of the compensation package. Maybe you can get a commission. Maybe you can get a performance bonus. But you put all of these terms in the offer letter right away before you start the job. Mm-hmm. And if you're in a job right now, you can renegotiate your contract and type up a new contract. A lot of people are scared to do that, but it's a business. You have a business. I have a business. When you hire employees, it's just a piece of paper. You can change it, and then they can re-sign it, like the offer letter.
I think, and the beauty of what you're saying is, I think it's highlighting to me, there's been a shift, just a paradigm shift. And you see, again, going back to this concept of the Great Resignation and things like that, it's people waking up.
Yeah.
Like, I have choice. You actually do have value and you do have power. So I think historically people have been led to believe that I just have to take what I'm given. Mm-hmm. That's what the offer is. So I either take it or not. And not this concept of negotiating to find my value. Or excuse me, to make sure that what's offered is in line with how I see my value. Mm-hmm. But I think we are seeing more and more of that, which is why people are leaving, because this is my value. You're not meeting it. I don't have to stay for that. So I think more and more people are starting to negotiate in different ways. It might not be, this offer. It might, my form of negotiation may be, I'm going to leave and go somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to stay and take this.
Exactly.
But also I like the fact that when you think about what you said, Wasim, and you think about and how you're working with your clients to make sure they find the right job, we're doing the same, right? As we're assessing these companies and trying to help people find the right job and the right environment for that. You can quickly see, and I think it's why Zeke, obviously want us to come together, because we are in the same business of helping people find the perfect job for them, which is crucially important.
Yeah. And before we talk about this, I'm going to add one thing. Sometimes you have to fight for it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll give you a quick example. Yeah. One of my guys, a senior developer, his goal was 200K. 200K. It's like, I'm not going to take anything less. I'm like, okay, we found him a company. We found him a good offer, everything else. They said, okay, 200K, but you'll start for 3 months at 165K as a 3-month contract. If we like you, we'll roll you in full time at 200K. Do you agree? I'm like, he's like, yes, I agree. That was the only term. They put it in the contract. 3 months pass. He did a great job. Now he gets the formal full-time offer at, from the company. Yeah. It was 165. They sent it to him at 165. He called me freaking out. He's like, Wasim, we said that it was 200K. It's still at 165. What do I do? I'm like, do not sign it. Call the recruiter. He called the recruiter, and she was not nice to him for some reason. It's like, oh, we have a budget thing, but he said, we agreed to 200K. What do you mean 165? I'm like, you know what? Leave her be. Let's talk to the upper up. Talk to the VP, the guy that you talk to. He called him, he explained to them the entire situation, et cetera, and they changed it. But he had to fight back and forth between a few people, and then they sent him 200K. Good. Imagine they were trying to lowball him. 35 grand. That's
significant.
That's almost an average yearly median salary in the U.S.
We'll talk about frontline workers. That is.
It is.
The average kind of frontline worker salary is around 35K.
So sometimes you have to fight for it, and don't be scared to, people are scared to lose the offer. Don't. push for it, fight for what you want. Obviously, in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
But stand your ground and ask for what you want.
Yeah, and I wanted to, because you also, especially if you are a female,
Yeah.
and you're a person of color, you're already up against it. And there's been all kinds of studies that show the disparity in wages and things like that.
Yeah.
So
or ageism.
ageism, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you really you do have to fight in some cases. So glad to hear in that case he came out on
out on top. Yeah.
Nice.
Not comfortable, not easy, but he fought and got it. So
awesome.
yeah.
So what is considered a frontline worker, and how important are they to our workforce? So you've heard the term essential worker, right?
Yes.
So a lot of folks confuse, well, essential worker and frontline worker, there's a little nuance. Let me just explain that a little bit. So essential worker, the way it's classified, and basically it's like 80% of all workers in the U.S. are essential. Okay?
80%.
80%. Here's why. Because the way it's classified, if you work in what is considered, I think about Department of Homeland Security, I think is who classifies them. If you're in essential industry, so what that means is like medicine, healthcare, food and agriculture, transportation and logistics, water, wastewater, you get what I'm saying? Defense, information technology systems. If you work in those industries, which are considered essential, then you are an essential worker. So let's say that I am a programmer, right, who works for a gas utility. I am an essential worker because I work in an essential industry.
Yes.
Okay. So just trying to explain the nuance between when people hear essential workers versus frontline workers. So frontline workers are a subset, obviously, of essential workers, right? Because you think about it, you've got frontline workers who come in the form of people who are working in our warehouses, who are working in grocery stores, who are working in pharmacies, who are working in manufacturing plants, who are working at wastewater treatment plants, those kinds, working in medicine. So frontline workers are a subset of essential workers. And it's about, I think, like 60% of essential workers would be considered frontline workers, meaning they have to be present to do their jobs.
Yes.
Right. So now you're starting to get into the piece that I'm talking about that we're catering to. So these are folks that, your drivers, right? They can't do their jobs remotely, right? So their counterparts in their same company might be an essential worker, the person who's working in finance for a waste company, for example. That person's considered essential, but they're not a frontline worker. Kind of makes sense?
Yes.
So depending on who you talk to, I've seen estimates as, in the 30-something million, as high as 40-something million frontline workers across the U.S. Okay. But that's
around 40 million?
40 million. Yeah.
Wow.
That's who we're talking about in terms of frontline workers.
Okay.
And that's who we're catering to, and kind of show the disparity, and where I think we could still, find some common ground and help each other is when you talk about the median salary for somebody who's working on the front lines, you're talking about like $35,000.
$35K.
Yeah. So that bonus, right?
Yeah.
The bonus you're talking about, right?
is the median salary.
Is the median salary, right? So and then we can start talking about living wages and things like that and why it's so important. Pay is crucially important to this group.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like a cost of entry for businesses that we're dealing with. You got to be taking care of your people pay wise, but you also got to, find fit, because these men and women, they kept this country going during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
They couldn't stay home, and they put themselves in harm's way. And risk, right? And I've heard stories of people who, brought home COVID to a family member, and that family member has passed away.
Yeah. Yes.
So you hear these types of stories, and people start to realize that their value, and really, it's one of those things where you kind of see a person's true colors in times of stress, right? It's no different for business. So I think a lot of frontline workers saw the true colors of their companies when they were stressed during the pandemic. What's really important?
Yes.
They realized how important they are, kept this country going, but really got a chance to see the true colors of the companies that they work for. Some stood out really, really good.
Yes.
Obviously, some did not. But I think you and I both agree, frontline workers, crucially important, just to the backbone of our country, they are really the essential part, in my view. They are the essential part of essential.
Yes.
Now we went over that definition. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You know, even if you look at, you know, one of the biggest essentials, it's a grocery store. If these men and women are not there, who would be there? You know, where would we buy our stuff from?
Right.
Or you go to, let's say another example. You want to go buy a medicine, right? And CVS,
Yeah.
right? All of these, the nurses,
Pharmacists, pharmacy techs.
all of these guys, they're working day and night to, especially at the time of COVID, right?
Yeah.
The vaccines, the medicines, the hospitals, all of the. Imagine every person had a major part in keeping things moving forward. And so I truly believe, I love what you said. I believe every single worker is important to the economy and the world,
Yes.
because without them, where would we be? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I always say, like, and I talk about it in my book, they always say the customer comes first. No, the employee comes first. Take care of your employees, they will take care of you and the customer. You know, take care of them.
That's so true.
Yeah, take care of your people. Like, you know, a small example, I'll use In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
They're paying like $20, $25 an hour to students, which is, I think, phenomenal. You see like 15 of them working in an In-N-Out Burger. Small example, right? But these are students that have, you know, a lot of debt, student loans, etc. They're trying to make it, going to school. At least they're providing enough wage for them to, you know, not a $10 per hour,
Right.
especially at these times where gas is almost $7 a gallon.
Man,
So
I know.
yeah.
Attention all adult beverage lovers. Welcome to the Odd Pairing Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about alcohol of all sorts, whether it's wine, beer, spirit. We go from the history to the culture to the community, back to the history, back to the culture, and we're definitely going to go back to the community. And what we're doing here is we want to give you a deep dive into everything alcohol. You don't have to go to nobody else's podcast to listen to that. You can come right here to this one. Tell them, Paige.
We'll also explore the cultural significance of alcohol, from the role of beer in ancient societies to the impact of wine on modern culture. We'll also talk to experts, from the master distillers and winemakers to industry insiders and friends and family, about the journey of drinking.
Odd Pairing is the perfect podcast for beverage lovers of all levels, whether you're a casual drinker to a connoisseur or a heavy drinker like myself. So grab your favorite drink, sit back, and join us on this journey into the world of adult beverages.
And don't forget to subscribe, because you never, ever, ever, ever want to miss an episode.
Nope, you don't want to miss it. Cheers.
Your business faces risks every day. We at yourinsurancekplace.com are here to help keep your business protected. From general liability, workers' compensation, professional liability, auto, cyber, employment practices liability, your business needs protection. Get information, quotes, and coverage fast and easy. Find us at yourinsurancekplace.com. The Film Hub is the future of co-working in downtown Vista. Get energized in an inspiring work environment that is built for your success. With multiple membership options for workspace and private offices, you can become a part of our co-working community. The Film Hub makes it easier to produce the professional content your business needs. From video production, live streams, photo shoots, or in-person events, you can create all this and more in our audio and video facilities. Love your work and where you accomplish it. The Film Hub.
Oh, got another one.
Another one. How do we help employers that are having trouble with hiring and retention?
I'll let you tackle that one first. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Hiring and retention. I think the biggest, simplest thing that I can say is look at the person as a human being and not a number, which means get to know them.
Yes.
Get to know what their family is like. Get to know what their problems are. What are their goals, ambitions? You know, I think for me, that's the biggest thing. If you take care of the If the employees look at them not as one out of 25,000 or 30,000, as human beings with their own problems, with their own challenges, like we all do, and being empathetic, that's a game changer. Empathy. That's it. Empathy.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. Literally, that was the word I was going to say is empathy. We had there was a summit this past weekend, and the topic was company culture, not human resources, right?
Yeah.
So people aren't resources to be used up, right? And you got to think about your company culture, which is how do you see your employees, right? And this concept of culture really comes back to you have to walk a mile in the shoes of people. It seems so basic what you said, but it's so true and so on point. It's how would I feel if things were done like this and I'm on the receiving end of it?
Yes.
It's really trying to understand what you put in place. How does that affect people? Right.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So, man, you nailed it. I mean, that's it. It is empathy. I'm right there with you, bro.
Empathy.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Empathy.
Yeah, empathy.
Okay, so this one's for me. What should potential employees focus on during their job search? Okay, great question. Different types. Let's say I'll use, there's junior level, mid, and senior level. It all applies to the same. First of all is to figure out, even before applying, I make it as a fun exercise. Write down the vision of what your dream job will look like. And live in Teletubbies La La Land for a second. That's fine.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself, number one, in terms of a culture, right? Like the people around you, who do you see as, where do you thrive? The type of team members or the managers.
Yeah.
And this I think this can apply to the frontline employees as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what type of culture, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one. So I see myself as an example where I have the flexibility. I work with the team. We're all as one unit. Everyone has a different style. Whereas some other person would be like, I don't mind being micromanaged. Just give me my to-dos. I'll knock them out. And I'm out of here. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Different strokes, different folks. Yeah.
Different strokes, different folks. So that's what. So have an idea of the dream job in terms of culture, type of work that we talked about, and salary. Write it down and make it fun as a fun exercise. Now, open up your resume. So does your resume reflect this type of job that you're looking for? Is it speaking that language? So now, after you have a general idea, you can put a label on it. And it depends on, this is a little bit of a wider question, but let's use someone who is, a project manager, right?
Yeah.
So now you have an idea of what you like. Then you want to brand yourself, specifically to these types of companies. So if one of the cultures is, let's say, I want to work for a biomedical company. Some company that is working on cancer research, because I really care about helping people with cancer and making an impact there. Right. So now you go look for all of the types of companies who have that goal, or their mission statement is, we're helping, and there's different ways, so many different ways to do that. Yeah. Developing applications, developing medicine, doing just research, analytics, etc. Many different ways. So now you have an idea. Second thing is, now you can get to work. An amazing tool that I talk about is jobscan.co. This is a platform that you go in, you upload your resume, simple as that, and then you copy and paste a job description, one of the jobs that you like, and it tells you everything you need to do and to present yourself for that job and company. All of the details. And then maybe if you look like, if you want to piggyback off of that, what do you recommend?
Well, I was just listening to you and really trying to absorb it. I like what you said is, start with a vision.
Yeah.
Right. And make sure you have alignment with that vision in your resume. Mm-hmm. And then you have alignment between that resume and the job that's going to be fulfilling for you. Right. And there's tools out there that kind of help you find that fulfilling job. I like that, because what I was as I'm listening to it, it makes perfect sense. But also, you're catering to, frankly, a different demographic. Mm-hmm. But that's true with frontline workers.
To frontline workers.
Yeah, it's no different. So I'm hoping, we'll take a snippet of that. I want to get that, on our website and on in front of many frontline workers as possible, because what you just said truly applies to them too. So nothing to add to it. It's perfect.
That's a big one.
It's transferable. It's transferable.
It is. Exactly.
So for me, what is the process of becoming frontline friendly certified? So, again, the way we certify companies is based on the feedback. What makes us different is there are employer recognition companies out there, mm-hmm. right? And I kind of put them in the two boats. So there are some that are not really based on the voice of the employee, right? So how can you, then these might be self-certifications and things like that, where a company may just pay some dollars and, maybe somebody's going to be completely honest, say, I pay some money, but we're not ready yet, so I'm not going to certify us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of got that boat, but you also have us, where it's based off of the direct feedback from employees.
Okay.
Now, what makes us different, though, is we focus just on frontline. So we don't water it down with, and I'm not saying that the experiences and the feedback of, people who are within an organization but not on the front line just is not important. Absolutely, that's important too. Mm-hmm. But what can happen is that can dilute the voice of the front line, because let's just be honest and be real. Their experience is going to be different from, somebody who's sitting in accounting, right? Or somebody who's sitting, or performing some other function, maybe in compliance or some other corporate role, or at a higher role, a director or something like that, right? Their experience is different. So we want to make sure we capture that. So we talk, again, so in terms of how companies get certified, we're going to talk directly to the frontline staff. But what also makes us different, Wasim, is we also have a different level of questioning for the frontline manager, right? So
the manager specifically.
Yes.
Because he's in the day-to-day, yeah.
Well, not only day-to-day, it's something you said earlier, right? About, which was so on point, which is why I gave you dap, because you were on point with it, is about you got to treat your employees first. Take care of your employees first. So when you think about any organization, even for the positions that you're helping to get hired, mm-hmm. the manager is delivering that employee experience. That's how we like to look at it. So who is delivering your frontline experiences, employee experiences? It's going to be the manager. They're mm-hmm. the ones who are tasked with delivering those experiences, right? So we call out specifically because that's typically the most stressful job in the company.
Yes. Oh, management.
Because you're getting it from here, you're getting it from...
Props to all of the managers out there. It's hard, yeah.
So that's what makes us different, is we call out frontline managers separately. We call out frontline as just focused on frontline. But it's still an anonymous survey. We've got our own proprietary questions that we've developed in-house based on direct feedback from employees, and also, again, the IO psychologist side of our team. And so we're going to take that information. We also look at a company's, we've got the company questionnaire that they fill out and things like that, but it's largely and primarily driven just on the direct anonymous feedback of the people who work there now. What do they say, right? And at the end of the day, if they say this is a great organization for a frontline worker, they will get the certification. If not, they still get an assessment and all of the recommendations and the details as to why you didn't get it. Mm-hmm. So, because at the end of the day, we want companies to move from being non-frontline friendly or lower end of the spectrum to being more frontline friendly.
Absolutely, because you're gonna make all of the suggestions to be better.
Yeah.
And I just had one question about that. So you always start with, obviously, number one is the front line, all of the workers, mm-hmm. and then the manager. Or who comes first?
So the way typically to roll out is, our process is when we have templates that emails that go out and stuff like that, but we recommend, like, whoever is the point of contact within an organization, first have a conversation with your frontline managers and just with them, right?
The manager.
The managers, right? So they know what's coming, right? Then you talk with your staff. So now, because if I'm receiving information on this, first person I'm going to ask is my managers. What is this all about? They need to be informed.
Yes.
But then when it comes time for surveys, the surveys launch at the same time.
Okay.
So the managers get a different survey, right? Slightly different. Some of the questions are still the same, versus staff who don't have anyone else reporting to them, right? They're a single contributor, right?
Okay.
Versus frontline managers who do have staff that report to them. So the surveys launch at the same time, although in terms of how it's communicated, the whole approach and the timeline, the managers are notified first, so they're informed before the staff knows what's happening,
Okay. And then,
does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering, so you mentioned that you have a psychologist on your team.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Tell me more about that. So obviously now you're even deeper to the survey questions, because human behavior, it's a lot of patterns, a lot of repetition, right? But what does the psychologist help you on your team? When you said that ringed in my ears. I was like, wow, that's really amazing that you have someone on your team who is a professional in psychology to help specifically with those questions.
Yeah. So one of the smartest dudes I know, right, I've met. I mean, really, really sharp. And just beyond that, we've done a podcast with Zeke before, just a good heart, right? And so known him for years. So it's good that we started as friends first, right, before we moved into business together. But the reason why he's so crucial on the team, I'll give an example, right? So another differentiator, I think about us and how we measure, right, the science behind it. So you're familiar with a Likert scale, right? So where you've got, you're measuring things on, less likely, not at all, all the way.
Yeah.
So most are just a 5-point Likert scale. Okay.
5 points. 1
Right?
to 5.
1 to 5.
Okay.
We use 7. Right.
7.
And this is what a psychologist on our team is like adamant. We have to use 7. Right. So we can measure more variability. So that our results are more accurate.
Wow.
And for us, a favorable isn't, okay, anything above a 3 then is favorable. No. You have to get a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
Right. So we can make it harder, because but that's not necessarily the point. It's to be more accurate with our results and how we measure, right? He'll start talking frequencies and things like that, from the measurement side of it. And we have our own methodology in terms of how we score the results. But that's really driven from a point of science, right? That's just the measurement.
Yeah.
Now think about the questions themselves.
Yeah.
So we've got 8 dimensions, but the questions are very specific questions and are worded in very specific ways to get to, as quickly as possible, the heart of why this place offers supportive management or does not. Why this place is good for performance management or is not. You see what I'm saying? So the questions too, heavily informed from a scientific perspective as well. So that's why it's been so helpful.
Absolutely, because I'm just thinking about the questions. That's a whole art itself. What do I ask? I was thinking, okay, if I was to send out a survey, these questions, every word matters. And the question, every word matters. How you phrase it, short form, long form, etc. That's a science right there.
Absolutely. And it can't be extremely long. You gotta be brief to the point, but it has to still be impactful so you can make draw meaningful conclusions from the data.
Exactly. Yeah. That's amazing. So your whole approach is very scientific, which is amazing. Okay. So who can I introduce you to? Oh, connecting each other? Yeah, okay, go for it.
Yeah, I have a thought, man, that as I'm sitting there thinking about what you do, and so obviously we interact, so 2 things come to mind. Our demographic is different because we're catering to frontline employees, right? And, you're catering more, I think, to high tech, right? You were talking about tech and you're talking, probably junior to senior positions, management, things like that.
Yeah.
But in kind of in the tech industries, which by nature is probably not frontline.
Okay? Yeah.
However, though, I think there's two key, I would say, groups of people, not necessarily people I can introduce you to, that I would like to introduce you to. One is just the people who come to our platform, right, to find a better job, finding a better organization. Would love to introduce you and your story and your approach. Remember, vision, resume, job, that is transferable. Just your way of thinking, your advice, your counsel, introduce you to them. Right. Right now, we're focusing primarily on Southern California, but we've got some things in the works and plans to grow and scale rather quickly. Right. And I think that also helps you, but getting your word out there, in terms of the good work that you're doing. So that's one group I would like to introduce you to. The second really is, we're working with a number of different businesses. Like for right now, we've got a couple of assessments underway right now. One is a multi-location restaurant, okay? And they're dealing with some attrition challenges and things like that. The other one is I'll put them in the realm of like entertainment industry, San Diego based. They've got locations here in North County and a couple out of state, but they need people, right? They're finding a hard time getting people. They think they offer a really good work environment. They just need us to validate that they're offering a good work environment. But in both cases, I think because you're working with so many, like more directly, where you're talking with the frontline workers and, well, not frontline workers, but you're talking to the job candidate, helping them sort through their vision and things, kind of what's missing or some of the gaps. And I think you could actually, sometimes I got these crazy thoughts that come to mind, but what if we were to do some sort of workshop together?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We do a workshop together. We bring in business owners, right? And the workshop is, what you should look for within your organization. Because this is, I'm working with people all the time, right?
Yeah.
Now, they might be in tech, but what they're looking for is in some ways probably similar to what people in your businesses are looking for.
Yeah.
And, but I think you bring a lot of expertise to the table that these business owners need to hear from, based on my experience talking with them and some of their challenges, right? Why not we do like some sort of workshop together?
Yes.
So I would love to introduce. So the second group I'm talking about are these business owners or these leaders of these different organizations. So one of them in this case, the multi-restaurant, that'd be the general manager, introduce you to her. And the other one would be the head of HR, you introduce you to her, or even maybe their CEO, because I know they need people. They're trying to fill these positions. They think they offer a great work environment. What are people looking for that we're not quite offering? We're going to help by validating the workplace, but I think it might even be helpful to just build on that and go even deeper.
Yes.
And you can help them. We could structure a workshop or something like that.
Absolutely. That was actually my first thought, to do a workshop together.
Yeah.
And then thank you so much. I mean, I would love to. I'm ready to rock and roll for both of these ideas. Let's do it. Two things I was wondering. First of all, to ask you, what are you looking for the most in your business as a whole?
Yeah.
To see what ideas I have. The second thing is I can also bring you in to do a seminar or a presentation for my people. So as an example, for all of my clients that I work with, I have a group coaching call with them every Monday and Friday.
Nice.
So one of the dates that work with you, you can, the audience will be there and everything. You just can come in and do your presentation, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, etc. Networking, meeting, and the people I work with, I'm so blessed. They're so kind, so they might even recommend people for you, for your business, because they know a lot of other people. And I'll map it out in a way that for you to leave, with value, pretty much.
Awesome.
That's the first one. So I'll bring you in to do a seminar with my guys. And the second thing is to ask you, what do you need help with the most in your company now?
Well, first off, we'd love to come in and talk with you, just have a conversation, right? Because I found every time I have, whether it's a panel or some sort of talk, I learn something, right? I always walk away there a better person. So hopefully we can share ideas and things like that. Would love to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll get that scheduled. In terms of the business, the main thing that we're in need of right now, I would say, is intel. And here's what I mean by that. So, like I said, we assess companies. But right now, it's important for us to really try to focus on companies who are more than likely to be frontline friendly. Now, there is absolute benefit, utility from, for companies who aren't there, right, to get the insights. They're going to get a very detailed, package of this is what your employees said, and based on what they said, here's where you need to work. But for us, the most value right now is trying to identify and certify as many companies as possible. But we are not a pay for play, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure we're allocating our scarce resources right now towards companies who are more than likely there. So your folks you're talking to may know this is a really good company. Like, they treat their people well, and they're actually. I may be in a programming role, right, or a program management role, PMO role, or some other high tech role, but within a company that does have a pretty decent frontline presence.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And I know, man, this is an awesome place to work, not just for me, but for everybody. They take good care of their people.
Okay.
So to the extent you have intel from your network on here in this greater San Diego County area, who are the really good employers that take care of their people, not just, those who are sitting in, maybe support functions and things like that, but also the ones who are in frontline operations.
Okay.
So I think that's the biggest need for us right now is to, and we've always got our ear to the ground, and, Zeke is always helping, which, that's what he does, but it's always trying to find out which companies really do take care of their frontline workers. So to the extent your people or anyone can help us sift through that and find the ones down here. And
ask them which companies. Yeah. And then even my personal network, like the people that I know here, tell me about your company. How first of all, like frontline wise, they have frontline workers, and how's the culture?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's all right. Perfect. And
That'd
that's
be awesome.
easy. That's easy. Yeah. So we'll hit both angles. And then even my clients can know also.
Yeah.
But I work with, all around the US, not specifically just California. But also they might have a lot of intel on that. Okay. So we can hit both of these angles. Personal network to see, all right, which companies should we target, right?
Right.
That have good frontline programs, etc. And then we'll do the talk where you can come in and talk to my guys, and we can tailor it too, because they're a little bit different, but you can also, and then meet them and network with them. And who knows, it's always magic. You meet someone, introduce you to this guy, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Okay, perfect. We have a plan then.
Love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was really nice meeting you.
Thank you.
How can the Network One-on-One audience find you?
Perfect. Go for it.
I'll go for it. Well, you can find me at our website, frontlinecareers.com. You can find me there. The best way is probably email, though, jason@frontlinecareers.com. Also on LinkedIn, you can find me in there, through the company page, or just find me there, Jason Roberts. You should be able to look me up. But that's probably the best ways to get at me.
Okay, perfect. So frontlinecareers.com. And do you have an opt-in to set up a call on the website?
Yeah, there is. I think our numbers is on the website too.
Perfect.
Yeah. That'll go to a central call.
Perfect. Yeah. And for me, same thing. Our website is getyourdreamjob.net.
Love it.
And I have all of my information on there, and you can schedule a call from the website. And all social media is Wasim the Dream for me. And if you just do a Google search, Wasim the Dream, you'll find me. It's all over the place. Yeah. Perfect.
Cool.
All right.